delight everyone on your shopping list.
The Emmy-nominated Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
You know that feeling when you're laughing and crying at the same time?
Weeknights on CBS.
From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12, live at 5.
A family is desperate for answers tonight after their mother is found dead in the North Fork Edisto River in Lexington County. 56-year-old Regina Arroyo was an advocate for animal welfare and ran a transportation service that rescued animals from kill shelters.
She was reported missing on December 1st, and her body was found on the 3rd in the Leesville area of Lexington County. For the first time tonight, we're hearing from Arroyo's daughter, who didn't know when she spoke to her mom several weeks ago that it would be the last time.
Our Sydney Hood is live in our newsroom in Sydney. Walk us through what she had to say.
Well, most of us like to think our parents will live forever. That's certainly how Regina's daughter, Mindy, imagined things. She thought she'd have a little more time with her mom, but that unfortunately is not the case. More than 2 weeks have come and gone since she heard the words, "Your mom is gone." But the pain from those words still haunts her to this day. It's the not knowing how or what happened to her mom. There are so many questions on her end, but so few answers. And her questions started the day she found out her mom was missing.
You're going all over. It's tearing you apart and trying to figure out what you should be doing. As hopeful as you want to be, and you don't want to believe it, and you just keep saying, she's gonna turn up, she's gonna turn up. I think deep down inside, I knew that something had happened and she wasn't coming home.
As you can imagine, this is all still extremely hard and raw for Regina's family to process. And while this is still an active investigation, they do not want Regina's name to die. Coming up all noon tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, those special memories her daughter is holding on to extra tight and how Regina's family is navigating life without her.
Especially difficult now during the holidays. Thanks for that, Sydney.
Well, after a fairly wet Sunday yesterday, we have cleared out our skies, looking at generally clear skies from Augusta to Aiken, all the way between Charlotte and Atlanta. So some nice conditions out there this afternoon. Temperatures are staying a little bit below average for us, but we did stay dry. But take a look at all this rain that we did see out there yesterday. We did set a daily rainfall record at Bushfield yesterday with just a little bit under 3 inches, and at many spots between 2 to 3 inches across the area. We are going to dry things out for the rest of this week. A very Arctic cold front's going to push through tonight. Not going to bring us any rainfall, but just going to reinforce some very cold temperatures over the next couple of days. Take a look at this. Waking up tomorrow morning, upper 20s Tuesday. It'll likely feel a little bit colder with some wind tomorrow morning. Take a look at Wednesday, though. We should be down into the low 20s right around daybreak, and still going to see the 20s by Thursday, which is officially the first day of astronomical winter with that winter solstice. So winter officially starts later into the week. It is definitely going to feel like it. Any evening plans if you're stepping out? Temperatures drop pretty quick, so bundle up. Temps in the upper 40s by 7 to near 40 by just a little bit before midnight, and then overnight tonight we'll get down below freezing. Beautiful out there right now. We'll have a look at the rest of the week's forecast for you in just a bit. Let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, here's a live look down I-20, looking at eastbound and westbound lanes, and this eastbound lane is getting a little bit congested, not completely staying still at the moment, but just a little bit slow moving. So heads up there near the state line. Going out to Grovetown next, looking at exit 190, and really seeing the golden hour out there on Lewiston Road. And at the moment, not seeing anything too impactful traffic-wise, just the usual backup off the interstate to the exit. Have an update on some pretty cold temps the rest of the week for you in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Riley. Thankfully, here at home, all we saw was some wind and some rain yesterday.
Yeah, but other parts of South Carolina saw much, much worse. Some areas on the coast saw more than 16 inches of rain, flooding homes, closing roads, and leaving some drivers stranded. Charleston's mayor calling the high tides that came up historic in nature. At least one person died after being trapped in a submerged vehicle.
100-mile-per-hour winds took out trees and entire homes in parts of Horry County and Myrtle Beach. The National Weather Service confirming an EF1 tornado did touch down in Horry County. A semi-truck weighing roughly 35,000 pounds was even blown onto its side from the winds.
I drove through most of the country and some really windy parts of country, and drove empty and loaded. Well, I never had a case where I ever thought that I'd flip over. And now, being at home and living down here, it was unexpected.
Many schools along the coast were closed today because of the damages. Recovery efforts and damage assessments are still underway.
Well, more than 8 years after a quadruple homicide in South Carolina, suspects have finally been identified and charged with murder. The sheriff of Pendleton calls it one of the worst scenes many of his investigators had ever seen. On November 2nd, 2015, the bodies of Michael and Kathy Scott were found in a home along with their elderly mothers. Investigators say the four were stabbed to death, then shot. For 8 years, there were no charges in this case, but now they say the suspects are Michael and Kathy Scott's daughter, Amy, and her husband, Ross Velarde. Amy and Ross lived just feet away from the home where their family members were murdered. They later remodeled the home where the murders occurred and then moved in. They sat down for multiple interviews over the years about the investigation, always maintaining their innocence. But after being charged with 4 counts each of murder, they were denied bond on Saturday.
I wish that the families weren't having to deal with this, but I hope this is a good day for them, at least the first step of getting justice.
The sheriff says most of the specifics that led to these murder charges will come out later in court. The couple will appear for a preliminary hearing in February.
We're learning more about what led to a fiery plane crash along I-26 in Asheville late last week. Air traffic control recordings tell us smoke was going into the cockpit due to oil pressure failure. The pilot says they restarted the engine but heard a bang and then lost it again. The plane made an emergency landing on I-26. Miraculously, both people on board survived with just minor injuries. One flight instructor says the pilot likely did everything right to be able to make it out alive.
They had smoke in the cockpit, so that's obviously a very terrifying thing to deal with. It can cause issues with your breathing, can cause your vision to be hard to see out the window. Ultimately, I think the thing that is amazing is they walked away from this landing. We always say a landing you can walk away from is a good landing.
Absolutely, especially seeing that video. The National Transportation Safety Board is still continuing its investigation tonight.
Men in South Carolina are likelier to be diagnosed with prostate cancer than the average American man. But it's not because they're getting screened more, because screening rates have gone down in South Carolina in recent years.
As our State House reporter Mary Green explains, a group in Columbia is now figuring out what the state's role should be in addressing this.
According to DHEC, prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers in South Carolina. In fact, 2 of the 4 lawmakers on the state's new prostate cancer study committee are survivors of the disease.
It became abundantly clear to me in the weeks and months after my diagnosis that many men my age, older than me, younger than me, did not have a clue about getting checked for prostate cancer.
Data from DHEC shows the prostate cancer screening rate among men 40 and older has gone down in the last decade, with nearly half of men being screened in 2014 and just a third of them screened in 2020. On a positive note, a recent report found the death rate of this disease in South Carolina dropped 50% in the last 25 years. But disparities linger, with black men over 1.5 times more likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer than white men in South Carolina, and nearly 2.5 times more likely to die from the disease. A representative from DHEC told committee members that while the state health agency gets millions of dollars in the budget for prevention and awareness campaigns for other cancers, including breast, colorectal, and lung, no money goes toward these same efforts for prostate cancer.
Do you envision that DHEC could do something similar with prostate cancer if we were to develop a funding stream for that?
I think there's a path forward there, yes, sir. From talking with the program folks, it's really about education.
And in addition to a few lawmakers, this committee also includes a number of doctors, researchers, and patient advocates. They plan to later develop recommendations for the entire General Assembly to consider. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
Other factors they're weighing include how to promote more awareness and screenings in rural areas where prostate cancer mortality rates are higher.
Well, doctors said he wouldn't make it, but he just walked across the stage at graduation. Just ahead, we'll share one Georgia man's story of survival and what he plans to do next. Riley?
And we have a cold night on tap down into the 20s, but getting even colder later into the week. Have a look at those temperatures just after the break.
Time and temp.
9s now.
Yeah, it's real.
Get spotted with an SRP Spotted sticker and get $100. That's right, it's that easy. Get your SRP Spotted sticker or magnet from any SRP location and you could be spotted and win $100. Follow us on Facebook for even more chances to win with Spot Me SRP. Good things are happening at SRP. Storms.
Crosby Roofing and Gutters. Quality you can look up to.
Our First Alert has always given you the edge against severe weather. And now, with our new First Alert radar network, First just got even faster. With up to 10 times the resolution of other local radars and technology that can pinpoint right down to your street. First just got faster. All right, we're right at sunset here from our Thermodam cam. Clear skies tonight, and winds are not going to really calm down, but we are going to bring in a cold front tonight, so that's going to help our temperatures drop pretty quick after sunset. Right now, we're at 57. We did actually hit a high temp of 61 earlier today, so temperatures have already fallen a few degrees, and will continue to drop over the next couple of hours. Once we get past sunset, I would imagine we're only waiting an hour or so before we're dropping into the 40s, and as we head into much later tonight and early tomorrow, that's when we should be waking up into the 20s. So a very cold start to our Tuesday morning. I would imagine anywhere from around 27, 29 for most spots, especially away from the city. But when you factor in a little bit of wind tomorrow morning, actual temps upper 20s, but feel like temperatures will likely be just a couple degrees colder out there. We're going to hang on to plenty of sunshine Tuesday, but take a look at temperatures tomorrow afternoon. We're only going to see highs into the 40s for most spots, so it is going to remain fairly cold out there tomorrow. But luckily, no rain in our forecast through the rest of the work week. So if you have plans to be outside, maybe you got to do some Christmas shopping still. You got about a week left to do it, but we got sunshine in store the next couple of days. Take a look at these cold mornings. 29 tomorrow morning, all the way down to near 21 degrees, waking up early Wednesday. Thursday, mid-20s. By Friday, we're at least back into the 30s, and then we will start a little warming trend as we head into this weekend and by Christmas next Monday. Here's a look at our current First Alert radar network, and we are looking at a good bit of snowfall across the Midwest into the Northeast, all thanks to this cold front pushing through for us tonight. So this is what's just going to bring us that cold air. No precipitation for us with this front. Here's a look at our day planner for tomorrow and Wednesday. So very cold mornings and pretty chilly afternoon temps. Remember, staying in the 40s most of the day tomorrow. We should be able to get at least up to 50 for a high temperature by Wednesday afternoon, and just a few of those passing clouds by Wednesday. But nice dry weather if you need to wash the car, getting the outdoor chores done. Just going to be a little bit chilly out there, but you do have sunshine for the next few days, so good weather there. Aches and pains forecast. We had a pretty intense low pressure system move through yesterday. That's what brought us all the rainfall and likely did trigger some aches and pains across the area. But we do have high pressure building in the next several days, so that is going to keep us fairly stable and not likely going to cause you too many issues. A slight drop in our barometric pressure late into the week, but not too intense, so I don't think we'll have to have too many worries with the aches and pains forecast most of the week. Here's a look at our lake forecast. Lake temps right now at 55 at Plum Branch Yacht Club. So with these cooler nights we've had, we've definitely seen lake temps drop a good bit, and they'll continue to drop. We're expecting high temps up at Clarks Hill to stay below 50 degrees over the next 48 hours. So I would imagine lake temps do continue to drop. Overall, it is going to be a little bit less breezy the next couple of days up at the lake. They should stay generally with a north wind less than 10 miles an hour. So finally getting a little bit calmer out there. Remember, the first official day of winter is Thursday. This is going to still feel like winter then, with temperatures below average through at least Friday into the weekends when we get those highs back close to 60.
All right, thank you, Riley. One Georgia man is sharing his story of how he went from the ICU to walking across the stage to get his master's degree.
And now he's using his unique experience to hopefully help others in similar situations. Joshua Skinner has the story.
In a sea of caps, there are innumerable stories. Matthew Parzik is one of those stories.
Data analytics is my degree.
Matthew's interest in the subject emerged after his wife Erin was diagnosed with breast cancer 11 years ago.
Over the top support, over the top everything, where he just went to bat for me and made sure I had the best care.
I was amazed at how they were using data analytics to determine how to treat her.
So the software engineer applied for and was accepted into Georgia Tech's Masters of Analytics program. But during the summer of 2019, just one semester in, he suffered his own tragedy.
The last thing I remember is walking over there.
Matt was in Florida helping a friend install a Murphy bed when it collapsed on him, causing a traumatic brain injury.
Well, we're driving up, through our street, and I see a fire truck and an ambulance, and I knew immediately for some reason that it was Matt.
Matt was in a coma, one doctors worried he would not emerge from.
They thought I was going to die.
Aaron kept the faith.
He's going to walk across the stage at Georgia Tech, and he's going to graduate.
Matt came out of the coma and began rehab, relearning how to stand, walk, and use his phone. When Matt's condition improved, he asked to be transferred, so he was taken by plane from Florida here to Atlanta and the Shepherd Center for the next stage of his recovery. By the start of fall, with support from Georgia Tech, he was back in the graduate program and working as a teaching assistant.
The TA thing gave me a lot of confidence because I realized I remembered a lot of what I learned.
And as it became his time to walk across the stage, Aaron's prophecy came true.
She was my healthcare advocate. She was my biggest cheerleader.
Matt's quick recovery is unusual for a TBI. He knows this, and he intends to enjoy each and every step.
I don't use the word lucky. I feel fortunate.
And Parzik says he's planning to use his new master's degree to work in healthcare and help treat traumatic brain injuries.
Next, corporate America's growing interest in farmland and why some experts say rising prices are leaving family farmers in the dust.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group. Honda dealer today.
Investors are snapping up farmland across America, and critics say it's pushing out the small family farmer, but advocates say it's giving more people a stake in the land and helping prop up the market.
It is an issue for our national investigative team, and Investigate Midwest, they have been tackling this for a couple of years now. Reporter Kristen Crowley digs into who's buying up the land and how one farmer says you could end up paying a lot in the long run.
I'm a fourth generation farmer, fourth generation American.
Farming isn't a job for the weak of heart or mind.
Out of 10 years on farming, you may make money 2 years, break even for about 3 years, then lose your for 5 years.
The losses, the stress, and the strain mean Darvin's ready to hang it up and retire. But unlike the 3 generations before him, he won't be handing the reins over to his children. Despite not keeping the farm in the family, he did hope to keep it with a family. But none could come up with the $4,500 an acre price tag, more than $3 million for the roughly 700-acre farm. If the price sounds steep, the USDA says that's close to the national average. The average value of farmland has almost doubled since 2009, pricing many traditional farmers out. So if farmers can't afford the land, who's buying it?
When you have billions of dollars at hand, you can afford
afford to pay more for land than somebody who doesn't have access to billions of dollars.
Loka Ashwood, an associate professor of sociology at the University of Kentucky, says the deep pockets belong to corporations. And Loka says that's a problem.
When you're an outside investor that's interested in agriculture, you're interested because you want a return. Now, everybody wants a return on their work, but the difference with these outside investors are they don't have the same community ties, the same community attachments a farmer does.
According to USDA data, the value of farmland has seen consistent, steep increases over the last few years, despite market conditions that should have slowed down growth.
I think you just got to look at how much acreage or money that certain entities control, and then what the effect of that is.
Brian Luffman is president and founder of American Farm Investors, an LLC that buys land at scale, allowing individuals to invest in agriculture without having to front the entire cost of a farm. But Luffman says corporations aren't solely to blame for the rise in farmland prices or dwindling farmers.
If you completely cut out groups like myself from buying farms around, I think the prices of farmland will probably go down a bit, but I'm not sure that there's going to be a whole lot of buyers that are willing to go back.
Back on Darvin's farm.
Come on, girls.
Who ended up buying your land?
Ended up being corporations
The very thing that you don't want to happen.
that I didn't want to happen.
The future of farming, he says, is beyond his control alone. That, he says, rests on the government's shoulders.
If nothing changes, what does the future of farming look like to you?
It'll be bigger farms, more corporate control, and food prices will go like they have been going. I mean,
Food prices are going to go up.
food prices are going to go up or stay high. You know, they're not going to come back down.
Now, this issue has caught the attention of some lawmakers in Washington. Earlier this year, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker introduced the Farmland for Farmers Act, which seeks to combat corporate ownership of farmland, and leaders on both sides of the aisle have been discussing limits to overseas ownership.
Well, we have a cold work week on tap, and with high temperatures tomorrow, they're going to be close to 10 to 15 degrees below average, only reaching the 40s tomorrow. I'm going to look at that 7-day forecast just after the break.
Has a life-changing accident.
Hey, Sparky.
All right, taking another look from our tower cam. This one over Beach Island. We just got past sunset. A beautiful look over the valley here. We have temperatures right now in the upper 50s. They're going to be dropping pretty quickly into the 40s. So stepping out this evening, definitely grab the coat. Tomorrow morning at the bus stop, we should be below freezing, most likely near 30 degrees right around daybreak. And then tomorrow afternoon, heading home from school, those high temps should stay in the 40s. So a pretty chilly outlook over the next several days. Wednesday morning is going to be our coldest start, when actually going to be close to the teens. 21 for an official low at Bushfield Wednesday morning. Then we do gradually warm up heading into the weekend. Christmas Eve still looks dry, but by Christmas Day, the chance for rain is there.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break as News 12 Live at 5 continues.
Watch WRDW News at 5:30 weekdays for What the Tech. Sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School, leading the CSRA in STEM education. This year,
On us. That's up to $1,700 in value. Only on Verizon.
Yeah, it's real.
Get spotted with an SRP Spotted sticker and get $100. That's right, it's that easy. Get your SRP Spotted sticker or magnet from any SRP location and you could be spotted and win $100. Follow us on Facebook for even more chances to win with Spot Me SRP. Good things are happening at SRP.
Well, one morning, me and my wife were headed to work. Bus came out right in front of us, and then I woke up hours later in the emergency room. I was worried about the health and well-being of my wife. My son contacted Austin Jackson. They took all the pressure off. They said they will handle everything. And when they meant everything, they meant everything. I would recommend Austin Jackson Law Firm because they relieve you from all the pressure. Get Austin Jackson, the Augusta guy.
we can fill in.